Okay, so I guess I better tread a little lightly when making this reaction video because last time I did a reaction on something that was related to the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, it was met with probably one of the biggest dislike to like ratios that I've seen for one of my videos, and that was a little disheartening up until I saw the comments. And I just kind of want to make it clear that in that video, in no way, shape, or form was I ever criticizing Zack Snyder's decision to walk away from the project. The reason given is completely valid and understandable. I would walk away from a massive project if something like that were to go down. But it was because of my critical reception of the trailer itself and all that stuff that all of these white knights of the toxic DC fan base, and that's not to say that no fan base is safe from toxicity, but it's just that there's just something about the DC one that plagues the internet in a way that I just haven't seen very many other fan bases do. It's either DC, Star Wars, or in the gaming atmosphere, Last of Us. Those are the three fan bases that need to sincerely take a chill pill. So in no way, shape, or form was I criticizing Zack Snyder's unfortunate events, and I'm really happy for him to be able to get this second chance from Warner Brothers to bring his true creative vision for the Justice League as he originally intended. I can tell that his heart and soul is deep into something like this. My main criticism is also not towards the people that were genuinely supportive of Zack Snyder's pursuit to make a Zack Snyder cut. You can tell who's sincere and who's just toxic, and my criticism were towards the toxic ones, the ones that say a bunch of vile things on the internet and form these Instagram accounts that I've personally have seen where they do nothing but just attack anything that's just not DC, including Marvel, like just talking massive shit, and I've seen them firsthand. And that's where my ire kind of goes towards to. And I just wanted to clarify that before we probably poke that bear once again with my reaction here of the newest Valentine's Day more in-depth and contextualized trailer for Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League, dropping on HBO Max March 18th. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer, give my opinion, see if they've changed at all since the last time I took a gander at this with that original teaser trailer, and whether or not I'm going to renew my HBO Max after that Wonder Woman 84 drop. Let's do it. Going with that Until Dawn music.
The bell's been rung.
Jesse Eisenberg as the goddamn.
Out in the dark.
Wait, his scream did something? That's interesting.
The god is dead.
That is very interesting.
I had a dream. Almost like a premonition. I think there's an attack coming.
So,
My lord, this world will fall.
I need warriors.
yeah, we're gonna get violent with it. I saw that clip where like a bunch of blood cuts a person in half.
Ourselves.
How do you know your team's strong enough? If you can't bring down the charging bull, then don't wave the red cape at it.
You were sent here for a reason. And even if it takes you the rest of your life,
I'm just gonna throw in Iverson.
find out what that reason is.
Like suit. Oh, that actually looks kind of dope, actually. And that tank. Is he gonna use that tank?
They said the age of heroes would never come again.
It will. It has to.
Look at his name flash first before anything else.
We live in a society where honor is a distant memory. Isn't that right? Batman.
He's still doing the Batman. Ugh. Hey. Interesting that he's wearing that SWAT vest because it looks like Batman's gonna take him for a ride. The only thing that is a little bit of a bummer about that shot or the inclusion of Joker in here is that it's going to be during the nightmare sequence, which means that officially, then we have to rewind quite a bit. So let's break it down. So we start off with probably the catalyst to this entire thing, not just Justice League, but also one of the big things that a lot of people who are fans of the movie and Batman vs Superman were left grieving for is the death of Superman. What is also curious though, and I don't think we see this in its full capacity, even in Batman vs Superman, which was, I mean, unless it was cut or unless something was done with it, it's weird that this is very obviously Superman's death, and yet he's throwing in a scream that's echoing. And it's funny because at first I thought it was just like, oh, you know, showing his power, the power of his voice and whatnot. But then we cut to this shot and you see his scream actually going like, is it gonna wake something up? And then we cut to Themyscira. I was expecting the wave to be seen through Themyscira, and maybe that's what happens there. But something tells me that this is the battle between the Amazons and the Steppenwolf, where he, you know, demolishes all those people and he makes up with one of the mother boxes. That's the only thing that I can really assume for. But it's just very curious that his scream could have some kind of, and the fact that they overlay this with Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor saying,
The bell's been rung.
the bell's been rung. So what exactly does that entail as far as like, okay, did he wake something up with a scream? Got a couple of shots of Nightmare Batman. I do like that they, with this, I mean, we kind of saw this. This happened in Batman vs Superman. It looks like we're adding more Nightmare Batman footage in here with Justice League. I wonder how much of that nightmare sequence in Batman vs Superman they're going to carry over here to Justice League. And it's cool that he's adding some exposition to the nightmare sequence, because with that original cut of Justice League, it really was just like, oh, it happened in Batman vs Superman, and then we're just not gonna think about it again. I mean, he mentions it like once or twice in Justice League, but they don't really cut back to it. They don't really have a sit down with it and be like, okay, is this really a premonition of what's to come? It looks like they're kind of contextualizing it. They're layering it a little bit better here with this scene. Diana doing a little bit of her investigation with a quick scene here of Darkseid assembling his army. People are saying that that's Granny Goodness. Actually, it's pretty much confirmed that that's Granny Goodness there on his right. And then we got Desaad. There you go. I think that's the name right there. A lot of people were thinking this is Steppenwolf. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And then Darkseid right there. I think it could be a little bigger. His overall design, I love. His overall design, I really like. I just think he could be just a little bit on the bigger side as far as packing in more of that protein. Oh, wait. Oh. So I was about to say, oh, he is bigger, but no, that's actually more of a, like a not a teleport, but a telecommunications sort of device from their world, from their paranormal world, where you got the stuff kind of coming out and he's kind of etched in there. Very a la, very much Zack Snyder with the Krypton that we saw at the beginning of Man of Steel. The newly designed Steppenwolf with a little bit less plating going on. The Amazons taking on Steppenwolf, and as you can see right here, oh, we see some more blood. And then, like I said, there's that black and white shot that Zack Snyder himself shared. Now, the only skepticism that I have is that you see that blood kind of come out. I really hope that a good chunk of time was spent on the blood, because I really do not want another Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition situation where they were like, oh, it's R-rated now, and this is going to be R-rated, as we saw there at the end of the trailer. But also prior to this, they were confirming that this is going to be an R-rated 4-hour cut. I just hope that they're just not making it R-rated for the sake of R-rated, just like they did with that Ultimate Edition of Batman vs Superman, because I was intrigued when they said, oh yeah, there's blood, there's stuff, all this other stuff, and then you watch it and that blood was CG the fuck back into those shots. Because you can tell when shit was intended to be shot in a bloody and violent way and when it's not. And I'm wondering if that's going to be the case here. The blade doesn't look too bad, but at the same time, I wonder if they're kind of masking it a little bit with the lightning bolts. Are we finally going to get the more in-depth footage that we got in those very, 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 very first trailers of Justice League, where him and Jason Momoa are talking inside the bar, and rather than in the shots outside that were very clearly reshot? And then Wonder Woman with her opening heist. Some Aquaman stuff. Whoa! Cyborg's gonna be packing some heat there. Shoulder cannon. Of course, he's always got to. And then we got some shots that we have seen before already with the battling of the tank there and the parademons. Flash kind of going around. The slight nudge, the slight dodge. Glad to see more Jeremy Irons. I think we can all agree that whether you loved or hated Batman vs Superman, Jeremy Irons was one of the best parts as Alfred. He nails it as Alfred. That was some perfect casting. I love him. He really does it justice. No pun intended. But then we got some more Steppenwolf action. We've seen those shots there, those there. We've seen that, to some added stuff. That's the thing too. Is another thing that you can agree. Well, a lot of people can probably say whether you loved or hated either Batman vs Superman or Man of Steel or Justice League, and whether or not you're looking forward to the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. Zack Snyder is genuinely, like, whenever a description of a movie says from visionary director, blah, blah, blah. Zack Snyder is one of the few directors where whenever it says visionary director, that is very much warranted. He really is a very vision-driven director where every time that you see one of his movies, there's always some kind of frame, some kind of shot that is just unequivocally beautiful. And this is another perfect example where you see Superman being put into the resurrection chamber, but then you see that photo falling of Pa Kent, Jonathan Kent, right there. Now I wonder what Cyborg's exactly doing right there. I wonder if this is some kind of vision provided by the Mother Box. What's going on? Something's going down right here that's gonna involve Flash, because notice it's in slow motion and everything is kind of in that. What's the word? I'm blanking out on it, but the dimension, quote unquote, that Flash always enters whenever he runs fast. I can't remember, but it looks like we're entering there when Diana's trying to reach for her sword. Just like he's doing right here. Sounds the lightning saving Iris, as we saw in previous trailers. More shots of Batman battling. We kind of had a little bit of this before, except we're just fleshing out the scenes. And then, not gonna lie, this looks kind of dope. We're kind of harkening back to Man of Steel, where he puts his fist right there, harnessing his power, and then he takes off. The only thing I'm a little worried of is that even though, from a design standpoint, these look like two different shots. But from a design standpoint, he looks awesome in the black suit. I'm just nervous that I don't think they ever had him wear the black suit. I think this is the OG red and blue suit, but they grayscaled it, which is fairly easy to do with the cape, because most of the time the cape is CG. But there's something about the way it looks like here, especially around the wrist area. If you look at the wrist area, it looks a little rotoscoped, a little like it was grayed out in post. Which, like I said, design-wise, he looks awesome in it. And story-wise, it makes sense for him to be in the black suit when he comes back, because that's what happens in the comics. When he gets resurrected or be brought back to fight Darkseid, he's in that black and silver suit with the long hair. That's another thing that I kind of wish that they would have done, giving him the mullet. And that's another thing that I think all of us can agree is that they were having all these issues with the mustache. Keep the mustache and add a beard. He should have been bearded when he came back. This tanked, though. And looking at Batman a little closer, this is not Nightmare Batman, so is he going to wreck shop with this tank? I really want to see it. Now, granted, this might trigger some people into having some PTSD flashbacks of Arkham Knight, the missions where you have to do the tank battle. So whether or not that's something that should be done, I don't know. And then we have that. Oh, yeah, see, look at that. The Mother Box definitely does something to him. What is happening here? Because this is a very dramatic shot. Flash is trying to save him, but it looks like the Mother Box is going to have some kind of mental effect on Cyborg, and I think that's maybe where we're going to cut to him being in the regular jersey and whatever, and like trying to do something. Especially in the prior trailer where he's going like this, and you see like all of those nuclear bombs, kind of, he pulls him away, Dr. Manhattan style. Another Zack Snyder reference. And then there's Steppenwolf grabbing a mother box. Chances are that's where that building from the beginning in Themyscira falls, and he reaches in and manages to grab one of them. I'm looking forward to that sequence. We've already seen a handful of that. Of course, the iconic shot of them getting off the ship. Age of Heroes, we see Hello. So we see not just Amazonians, but also Atlanteans fighting. In fact, I think that's what's his face. Not Aquaman, but the one that came before him, fighting them off there. The more badassery, leading with that shot that, not gonna lie, looked pretty dope that Zack Snyder teased before with. Now here, it's funny. Here he does look. That's the thing, is that I think he's gonna combine some footage that he shot where they used the regular red and blue suit. Here, this does not look like the red and blue shirt. I will admit, this looks like a genuine black and silver suit. So it might be a mixture of the two. I think there's going to be some shots where they did grayscale the red and blue shirt. God damn it, the suit! And then there's going to be others where they use the genuine red and gray suit. Jesus Christ. To actually be in those shots that he probably either reshot or never used. And then, of course, Ben Affleck being a very leader Batman. And then this leads us to one of the more surprising inclusions of the entire thing. But before we get to that, I just noticed something. We have Batman here. And yet, from the distance, though out of focus, that's actually Cyborg. So Cyborg was intended to be in the Nightmare sequence. Now, could he be getting a second Nightmare? A different one than what we got in Batman vs Superman? And then this second one is the one that's gonna add a little bit more definition, a little bit more substance as far as giving him more insight into the future, because it's not just Joker that we're dealing with here as we get teased here, but it's also Cyborg in the back there, and I don't remember Cyborg ever playing a role in that Nightmare sequence in Batman vs Superman. So you could argue that maybe it's something that was unused from Batman vs Superman, or chances are it's something that was intended for Justice League and just never made, of course, that final cut. So I'm finding it a little bit, just an inch more interesting that Cyborg is included in this, and he's not being given an awful lot of insight, an awful lot of exposition. Like, I don't see too many people calling this out, but that's interesting. And then, of course, he doesn't have the tattoos. I thought he did have the tattoos. Sorry, my mistake. I thought they were tattoos. They're just cuts. So something tells me he gets involved in something that then makes Batman go, oh, okay, here, put this vest on, put the SWAT, and he's got a gun too. But the fact that he's not using it on the Batman makes me think that there's something out there that's probably scaring Joker even worse than the Batman, and it's up to him to be like, okay, you're still my enemy, but we have something harsher to deal with here. And this is probably going to be one of the few times we've seen, I mean, I know it's happened before in the comics and whatnot, but this is probably one of the few times we're going to see the Joker team up with Batman in the fullest sense. I'm not going to lie, with this trailer, I am looking forward to it. I'm not like hyped as fuck, but I am much more interested and much more curious than I was before. There's some added stuff that really genuinely makes this feel like a completely different movie than the original Justice League did. I am still, however, a little bit on the fence as to whether or not it was a good idea to make it a 4-hour movie versus 4-hour-long episodes as like a little miniseries thing, because sometimes a miniseries can end up paying off a little bit better story-wise and pacing-wise than a 4-hour film, because even though a 4-hour film will be able to be a bit more patient with the substance and being able to pace off the story, be able to develop the characters and whatnot, sometimes it could also kind of drag on, and there's a very kind of tightrope balancing act that a movie like this has to walk. Take Endgame, for example. Endgame is 3 hours, and even then I felt like some stuff got cut that it should have been just 10 or 15 minutes longer, in my opinion. But then we got movies like The Irishman, which is 3.5 hours because Scorsese really wanted to chronicle the man's life, and I ended up walking out of it saying that this is actually one of Scorsese's weakest films, in my opinion, and one that did not need to be that long. So it's a balancing act that I'm looking forward to checking out. Maybe by then I will kickstart my HBO Max subscription, assuming I can bring that income back as well. So we shall see, but so far, liking what I'm seeing in the trailer, and I'm still wholeheartedly happy that Zack Snyder's being given a second chance, being able to move on with his career. And even though this could be potentially his last kind of deep dive into something that's superhero related, as he's mentioned, because he's working on Dawn of the Dead, it's good to see that he can kind of leave this chapter on a good note and give the fans what they want. The true fans, the true and supportive fans, those toxic bitches. Now we got words for you. Anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like and share, all that good jazz. Check out the links in the description. As always, stay humble. I shall see you in the next one.